Friends Apart.
Good morning. Welcome to episode 2 of the Friends Apart podcast. Of course, this is your number one stop for everything news and culturally relevant information between Germany and Canada and everywhere in between. My name is Jason, and with me is Franz.
Hello.
And yeah, I think we'll just get started and dive right in. Last week's was pretty epic. The intro, I love that. It sounded so epic and professional. So this is really what we're aiming for, and I think this is going to be a tight show. No gaps. All content. Way more segments. Really structured as it should be.
All right. Full disclosure on my part. Since it's not morning for me and it's Sunday, I already have like half a bottle of Chardonnay inside of me. So, when it comes to being structured and everything being on point, I'm definitely there today. I'm like just focused. I'm razor sharp.
You're neat.
Yeah.
That's show business, baby.
So, first off, definitely what I need to talk about. Jason, I love you, dude. And I loved you even more today when you sent me the package. Well, it's actually, it wasn't today. It was like a week ago or something. But
though you're waiting till now to tell me, though, so that's really appreciate that.
Yeah, so I got a little care package from Jason, and it had all Good Things Canada in it. Missing him in person though, but apart from that, it was like amazing. So let me just tell you what he sent me. So first off, first thing I saw was just a little box of pralines, which were like real nice, and I really appreciated them, and they were so tasty. Obviously, I had to like just gouge down 4 of them the second I opened the package. And yeah, then it was a little, what do you call them? Hoses, right?
I'm not gonna lie. I actually forget everything that was in that box.
Those, so the little red policemen that you have, I think they're called hoses, right? No? Fuck, I'm sorry.
No. Those are Mounties. They are
fuck.
Those are the federal police, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Hosers is a general insult derived from Bob and Doug McKenzie, which I don't think I've introduced you to either. So, sorry. Carry on.
I'm really sorry. Anyways,
that was a deep insult to my cultural identity. But
yeah,
I can look past it, I think.
All right. So, so he sent me a little figurine of a, I wanted to say hoser again. Fuck. Of a Mountie. So, that was greatly appreciated. But
that's supposed to be for your Christmas tree, like an ornament.
Yeah, I figured, because I tried to get it standing up and it just didn't work, and it really annoyed me. I was thinking about filing down his heels just to make it stand evenly, but then my girlfriend told me, there's a little string on top of it, so probably it's made to, hang from something. And I'm like, that makes sense.
You hang it from your rear view window mirror in your car.
Yeah, but it also seems kind of cruel just to have a guy hanging there, especially federal
It's also
policemen.
quite solid, so if you take a corner too sharp, it just swings into your windshield and cracks it.
Yeah, dangerous stuff, man. And obviously a really heartfelt letter. I appreciated that. Even though it was so funny because it was Jason's girlfriend, if I'm not mistaken, who wrote that. And she's currently learning German, which I greatly appreciate, of course. And I noticed that some of the things that you wrote, you were specifically asking me the weeks prior. So
Oh,
it was definitely included in there, and the suggestions that I made. Good job. But what is just one of those really, really funny things that only people from a few countries will understand. So in German, we have a real hard line between how you address in the second person someone who you know and someone who you usually don't know, or who you're being polite with, like, your boss or something. Um, so when you have a friend and you're saying you, like, hey, how are you? You would say, wie geht's dir? So, wie geht's meaning how are you, pretty much, and the dir adds an additional you. And so the du or dir is the German informal form of addressing someone. What your girlfriend did, though, which I just loved reading, is she addressed us in the formal way. So she was saying sie all the time. So instead of wie geht es dir, she was saying wie geht es Ihnen. And I was I was laughing my ass off at that. I mean, no offense, dude. She really gave it like a thorough effort. I really appreciate that.
that might have been my suggestion. I'm not sure now.
Yeah, but anyways, it was just really appreciating the whole fact of her calling us C, because then I was sort of expecting her to start a letter with, "Dear lady, dear sir, hereby I am addressing you in this letter," and it was amazing. But yeah, she really gave it a good shot. I was proud of her. Oh well, proud of you too. I guess it was sort of like a joint effort, I guess.
Well, she was like gushing over the letter you wrote because you busted out like all of your English. Let's I don't know if you had a thesaurus or a dictionary in front of you, like some really.
No, actually not. But just for some context here for our listeners, so I also sent Jason and his girlfriend a gift box for Christmas, and I also included a letter, and I was intentionally writing it like a early 20th century letter. Um,
Yeah, I was like, it's a little Jane Austen.
it was, yeah, it was fun to write. I remember there was one word that I had to look up, just the spelling, because I wasn't sure anymore. But yeah, it's interesting how when you really put your mind to, intentionally being polite in another language, all those really weird words that you learned in English class, um, that you were forced to read because you read Shakespeare and stuff like that,
Yeah.
all of a sudden pop up. Yeah.
It makes the workplace really interesting. It's actually it's a good point actually, because you have like a formal form of addressing people, and it's very obvious when you're talking to somebody that you don't know. And I guess you could use it as an insult too. Like, couldn't you intentionally use like do for somebody that you don't know in a way to show like you don't respect them?
That's a good point. So, what I noticed is that especially my parents' generation, they
Yeah.
make a huge deal of the informal and the formal addressing someone. For our generation, I don't think it's that big of a deal anymore, because so okay. One thing that really, uh that's really bothering me is when I'm at a restaurant, or well, was in the former times, before the world went dark.
Rip.
Yeah. So when I'm at a restaurant and there's a waiter or a waitress, and they're my age, they're literally my age,
Oh,
and they are
I never thought
addressing
about that.
yeah, they are addressing me in this formal way, calling me Z. Um, it's so weird. Like, I don't know if we got any listeners who know Spanish. There's the same thing. They wouldn't say tú to someone if they're being formal. They would say usted, which is like the same thing. So I know that there's another example for that in another language. So we're not the only weirdos. But it's so weird. Like when you're interacting with someone who's service personnel and they're addressing you formally, it's just so weird. And I usually always tell them to please address me informally. I'm not that old, just making a real wanky joke. And it's weird. And that's something that I really, really appreciate about the English language. It's just not there. Like, you would call your president you would call your boss you would call your son of a bitch cousin second grade who you see like once a year at the family reunion and who always pukes up all of the turkey.
That was suspiciously specific.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
You want to talk about it?
No, it's all right. So, it's something that's
It's a good. I think it kind of leads to other problems though, because when you almost have to. It's more complicated to be formal because then you have to only say certain, maybe certain words, but like not the identifiers, not the, but other like words that you just. Or you have to structure your sentence differently, and then you have to adjust like your pronunciation of the things and your tone of voice depending on who, like if you're meeting with the president or like prime minister or whatever, like True Daddy, what's up? Say that. You'd be like,
yeah, but you would call him sir, and that's something that we don't have in German.
No, I don't know who would call, or maybe someone would. I don't know. I don't have that much respect, but.
Yeah, but anyways, that's something that you still have in your language, is calling someone sir or ma'am or madam, whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's something that we don't have. Like, you wouldn't go up in German and call someone Herr. That's just it sounds kind of weird.
That's a little Third Reichish for my.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Yeah. So, anyways, the main feature, we're still obviously talking about the package that you sent me. The main feature it included was something that I didn't even know existed. And for everyone out there who likes maple syrup, all right? Guys, you gotta get a Canadian friend to send the stuff to you. It's called, I think, maple butter, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Dude. It's so good. I mean, it's like I think it's sort of like the unprocessed version of the maple syrup, probably. It's like a little crystallized and everything. It's not. It doesn't contain butter. It doesn't contain fat at all. It's literally just maple syrup, but it's slightly crystallized. It's like, you have those two kinds of honeys, the more clearer, darker one, and then the really bright, opaque one. And maple butter is sort of like the bright, opaque version of maple syrup. And dude, I know you told me to put it on some toast or whatever. Like, I just dug in there.
In your mouth.
Dude, I dug in there, spoon forward, all the way. It was so good. And today I actually had it, like a little bit of it, on some real nice rye sourdough bread. Toasted it, put some maple butter on there. Dude, heaven. It's amazing. And then, obviously, another thing you sent me, which I also tried immediately because, well, I guess you guys have figured it by now. I have basically no self-control whatsoever. Was Timbits. And that's something that's definitely 100% Canadian, right?
Yeah, so I'll have to explain that too. So if there's any Canadians or Americans who visit Canada, I don't know if the Tim Hortons in the U.S. have them, but Timbits are like donut holes. I guess Dunkin' Donuts would have them. They're like the little round
Mhm.
ones that they say they take out of the center. And then what Tim Hortons did was basically like corn pops or like Cocoa Puffs kind of thing. And they made a cereal called Timbits cereal, and then they're like the flavors of some of the Timbits. There's like a birthday cake flavor and like a chocolate flavor, and I think there's a maple one too, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and the amazing thing for me about that is, I mean, those donut holes, you call them, right?
Yeah, that's like the American term.
Yeah. We have those. They're just not, they're not put into association with donuts. They are, well, we would, I think the literal translation would be curd balls, which doesn't sound nearly as appetizing. But
Mm-mm.
yeah, but curd, like the dairy product that you will get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they contain a lot of that. So I would figure they would taste a bit different from your donut holes, but they are sort of the same thing. They're deep fried. They're dough balls, and they're really sweet. And we would usually cover them in just sugar. And so when you sent me a picture after I received a package of the real deal, Tim, are they also called Timbits then?
Yeah, they're Timbits.
Okay. I realized it's sort of the same thing, but the cereal, that's something that you would not get in Germany. I even doubt if you would get it in Europe overall, because it has so much delicious, awesome artificial flavorings in there.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's what we're all about.
Dude, you wouldn't get this in here. Like, I mean, obviously we also have a lot of the classic sweet cereals like Frosties and stuff like that. But I don't think we would have something like that, because it's flavored birthday cake, which is something that most Germans wouldn't even consider buying, because they're like, the fuck is birthday cake flavoring supposed to be like?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which, by the way, was also my girlfriend's reaction, who's never really been exposed to North American culture like that. And it was like, the fuck's birthday cake flavoring? It's literally just sweet, right? I'm like, no, it's sweet with colored sprinkles and a little bit of vanilla. Like, that's
Yeah.
birthday cake flavoring, because I have had birthday cake Pop-Tarts in the past.
Yeah, they're probably similar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's always the same stuff, and it's so good. And yeah, just thank you, dude, for that package. It was
I'm glad
amazing.
you liked it. I was afraid you were gonna taste the cereal and then just like, what the fuck is this? This is disgusting.
Well, the first half was definitely true. I was like, what the fuck? But I was like, more like, why the fuck do we not have stuff like that? But yeah, health regulations.
Yeah. Legally calling something food.
Yeah, I guess if you would market it as like, edible Christmas decoration, which, oh damn, is the Mountie edible?
No.
Yeah,
it's
never mind.
ceramic, I'm pretty
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Never mind. Let me just.
Well, no,
try.
I mean it's edible. If you're up for a challenge, probably, yeah. But
Yeah.
I
I'll
have a
give it a
question
shot. Yeah, sure.
In the theme of Christmas. So
Mhm.
there's a thing that goes around here, and I think it's true to some very selective regional extent, but here we have for Christmas ornaments like the German Christmas pickle, and it's always you see it in shops, and it's like it comes in a box and it's got a little note, and it's like, in Germany, parents put a pickle in the Christmas tree, and then the kids have to find the pickle in the tree, and then like they get something or as a treat. And I looked it up on the internet, and I couldn't really find like a definitive yes or no. It seemed like some weird thing that they do in Saxony or something.
What the actual?
I don't know. Can you
fuck?
allude? Can you expand on this at all? Have you ever put a pickle in a Christmas tree?
I what what is wrong with you people? I mean, okay, obviously I usually tend to, but in this case I won't speak for all Germans. Um I've never heard of that at all. I've never even heard about your tradition of doing that. Like I wasn't even aware of that. Um
Yeah,
Pickles
it's a
are
weird one.
yeah, pickles are something that are definitely very, very present in German dishes. I won't.
I should point out that this is like a glass pickle. It's not a real pickle, but I guess like
Yeah, the sentiment is probably the same. But
yeah.
um, all right. So our Christmas trees in general, obviously, there's you know weird people doing stuff differently. Um, they aren't that exciting. They have some some like Christmas balls on there and some like a star on the top and maybe some weird. I don't know. Do you guys know Lametta?
No.
Okay, Lametta is one of the worst curses that have ever befell Germans. Um, so Lametta is like approximately like a I don't know, like a 30 centimeter long, really thin plastic strip of sorts, which is colored differently. It's usually like gold, silver, red, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's obviously not just one string, but it's like one package contains like 100, 200 strings,
Okay.
and you would put them on your Christmas tree. And that's something that I know was really popular, I guess, starting from like the 70s, sort
Oh,
of.
okay. I think it's we call it tinsel. It's
Oh,
like
all right.
it's like really thin metallic string.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. Yeah, and nowadays you would be, you wouldn't be part of the inner Christmas decoration circle if you were still using that stuff because everyone feels it's kind of old-fashioned. Also, since Germany's recently become like I don't know, really environmentally aware, people are like, don't use that stuff. It's really bad, and probably some turtle's gonna be choking on it at some point.
Mm-hmm. I
So
think
yeah.
also it used to be made of tin. Like I think that's why it's named that, and
Hmm.
it used to be really flammable or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's definitely still a problem because a lot of people in Germany are still using real candles, which I think is hilarious.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So my grandma still does that, and it's so unsettling every time I visit her. I'm like, Grandma, like, if the Christmas tree catches on fire, what are you gonna do? She's like, oh, it never did in the past like 60 years. It's not gonna happen now. And I'm like, well, yeah, that you really trust in that Christmas magic, huh?
She obviously hasn't seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh. Oh. Well, I think it's a little too late for you to watch it now. You're going to have to watch it next year. It is, I think, for some, the definitive Christmas movie.
All right.
It's with Chevy Chase.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I don't want to like build it up too much, but
Yeah.
it's very funny. And there's some
All
real
right.
classic one-liners in there.
Do Do you know Fred Claus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Do you know the budget of that movie?
No.
It was 100 million.
He's serious.
Yeah, I just recently, I don't know where exactly I heard that, but I googled it and it's actually true. Obviously, it didn't, return that at the box office, but it
What
was.
was the budget for Lord of the Rings? Because
I'm not sure, but I know that it like up until Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't fucking know which part, which was like over $300 million. Which for a long time was the all-time highest budget on a movie. Um, a lot of Drinks was before that, so I don't think it was more than that. But anyways, but you also have to consider, it was small people, which takes up less budget. So
yeah, well, yeah, of course.
Anyways, so just, to keep the casual talk going, what's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear, probably getting a third dog, I would say.
Okay, all right, okay.
Or
I wasn't expecting such a real answer, but for the listeners, I mean, could you, because I know the background of your answer, but could you just please do everyone the favor and tell us all about, just, briefly, the underlying issue with your dogs?
it's extremely difficult to summarize in 45 to 60 minutes how two dogs can have such a substantial impact on my sanity and sleep schedule. Basically, I have two dogs. One of them is very well behaved. The other is some sort of hellspawn, anxiety-ridden lab whippet mix. That's just
No, wait a second. Sorry. People do not realize the hilarious part about that. You have to specifically include the details of the breed of your younger, newer dog, and then let everyone picture how that was achieved.
My dog is a black lab crossed with a whippet. So it is a very small looking adult black lab for the most part, but it's got super jacked muscles and it can run faster than me. Very, very much faster than me.
But like a whippet, as you were calling it, it's pretty much like a Chihuahua, right?
It's a very small dog. It's like a mini greyhound, basically. I don't know how that was achieved. I don't know if somebody custom ordered that and then decided they didn't want it and wanted to return it, and that's how we got it because we rescued it. Or if it just kind of happened in nature, like there was a convenient stool somewhere, or like a second level, and then a dog unawares to itself, and the the dog behind it. I don't know. I've thought about it a lot. I've lost a lot of sleep trying to figure out how that was possible. But here we are with this insane dog that just doesn't sleep. He's got so much anxiety. So I think his coping mechanism is just drinking water. So if my dog could have access to alcohol, I think he would be an alcoholic.
So like a Family Guy Brian, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. So when he's stressed out, when we ignore him, or when we're trying to eat dinner and we just like keep shooing him away, he just goes and drinks. We've got 2 bowls of water and he just drinks both bowls of water. And he'll just like nonstop until they're both drained and completely finished. And then he'll kind of walk around, pace around, and then just piss on everything. And like, as if like, what did you expect to happen? But they say that dogs aren't vengeful, but I'm pretty sure this dog is, because one time I was like doing something quickly on my laptop, took it out of my backpack, and I had to do it before I took him for a walk. And then he was just kind of like whining and barking, and I'm like, 1 second, like let me just send this email, and then he just deliberately looked me dead in the eyes and then pissed on my backpack. And I was like, you motherfucker, you knew exactly what you were doing. That is a dog with a grudge, and one that is gonna do it again if I don't take him out right now.
So, in the past, I've owned dogs myself as well, and I've also raised a dog, and I definitely feel the pain you're feeling right now. I mean, my puppy back then, he had real bad diarrhea, and it was just, the whole apartment was just unbearable for like a week. So I definitely know the pain of dogs with, no control over their bodily functions. But,
Yeah.
but, 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 your dog seems to have such a agenda.
I don't know what he
Which-
wants.
Which is so weird because I remember when you got him, like, must have been like almost a year ago, right?
2 years. He's like
Shit.
11 months old now, or not
Damn.
11. Sorry, goddamn. A year and 11 months.
All right, all right. And I remember that, like, even as a puppy, he was that way, and it just seems like he was specifically bred. You know, there's specific breeds who are like shepherd's dogs, for example. They
Yeah.
are just made for, herding sheep, and then there's your dog, who was specifically designed to just fuck up your lives.
This dog was bred to seed chaos, is what it was.
It's
and
so bad.
It's wild. I've never had. It's like I saw it when he was a puppy, but I thought that it was just puppy traits. Like puppies are assholes. They don't know what they're doing. They're just like, have you ever left a kid alone with crayons? Like half of the crayons get eaten, half of them get like stuck in their pants or whatever, and then the other like yeah. So my deepest fear is getting a third dog, but more specifically, I don't know. I'd have to think about it a lot. It wouldn't be like I'm not afraid of dying because it's gonna happen, and I've just already made peace with the fact that eventually that'll be. I just want to fuck enough chicks before I die. That's all. No.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have an answer that's better than that?
Kidney stones.
Ooh.
Dude, so
Okay.
I
Take it
mean,
back.
I'm really sorry that my whole question was pretty much just a setup for this, but a couple of days ago I was talking to my father-in-law and like prospective father-in-law, I guess, and he was telling me about the time that he had kidney stones. He's a tough dude. Let me just say that, all right? And we're talking about, yeah, right, because he saw me just chugging down water. As I always do, I just drink a lot of water because of my persistent fear of kidney stones. That's literally the whole reason, because I also work out a lot and I eat a lot of protein, and I'm just scared to death that something like that could happen. And he told me about the time that he had a kidney stone and how, like, even for him who barely feels any pain usually, it was one of the worst experiences that he ever had, and it was so miserable. And just the thought of pushing out a solid stone through your urethra just makes me cringe so hard, and is something that I never want to experience in my whole life. So that's literally my biggest fear.
Yeah, I can't really. Okay, I take back my answer because I can't really top that. That is something that I never ever want to experience.
It's so bad, man. It's so bad. Yeah. And yeah. So, anyways, that's my biggest fear. And yesterday we were watching this movie, The Devil All the Time. And
is that the one? No, is that the one that's from Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman?
I actually don't know. I don't think so. It was like a Spanish sounding or Latin sounding director, I think. But it's with Tom Holland and Alexander Skarsgård and what's the fucking Twilight guy called? Who played the Twilight vampire, and he also played Cedric in Harry Potter. I don't remember right now, but anyway, so we were watching this movie, and it was such a good movie. For everyone who hasn't seen it, it's on Netflix right now, and it's so good. It's like not easy to watch. It's a lot of really heartfelt and heartbreaking stuff in there, but it's really good. And after the movie was finished, I was thinking about something that you told me, must have been like 3 years ago, which was one of the weirdest sentences that I've ever heard a human being utter. I don't do movies.
Yeah.
Has
Really?
that changed? Has that changed in any way or form, or is this something that you just
No, it
uh
hasn't really. We watched a movie last night, but um, it's not that I don't do movies. I don't know what it is. I love TV shows because it's like I think the plot moves. I don't know how to explain it. I've tried to explain it
mm,
before. It's like a movie is like a commitment where you commit to a full canned like beginning to end story, and something about that just doesn't appeal to me because I like longer term sagas. So I like Lord of the
mhm,
Rings and Harry Potter and movies like that because and the books obviously,
mhm,
because I like longer term commitments, and something about a movie is just like it's not long enough, if that makes
mhm,
sense in a way. And also I think just maybe listening to Harmontown and Dan Harmon for too long, like I started to kind of see like the meta story structure of movies to the point where like, okay, this is the
mhm,
third act now, so something
mhm,
has or like, you're in act 2 now, so something has to happen
mhm.
which will trigger this thing to happen, and then this thing has to resolve, and then it kind of like becomes, I don't know, too obvious or something.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So, especially with regard to the story structure, that's something that I've been struggling with after listening to too much Harmontown as well. Um, so, for everyone who's not familiar, first of all, Harmontown. Maybe some of you guys don't know it. Uh, Although I think that probably the cross section between people who listen to Harmontown and people who listen to us is pretty big. Um, so Harmontown is a podcast by Dan Harmon, who's the lead writer of Community, as well as Rick and Morty. So you guys probably know him. He also co-wrote Monster House, and he's a brilliant writer, but a very very controversial personality. Jason and I really enjoyed his show Harmontown, and I've even been to one of his live shows in LA, one of the last ones that he did, and
I'm still
it
upset about that.
yeah, because Jason had to leave the day prior. So sorry, bud.
Well, I got to see him in Toronto, but still.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so anyways, he's talking a lot about writing and storytelling, and I don't remember the concept's name, but it's pretty much the hero's journey.
Like the story
That's
circle.
yeah, the story circle, and it's been picked up by a couple of like storytelling theorists, and I think Dan Harmon calls it the hero's journey, if I'm not mistaken. And it's about, how in every story the first must be like the hero, then he must face a conflict, then he must redeem himself at some point, and so on and so on. So like just this classic story structure that you would find everywhere. And it's one of those things, as soon as you were made aware of that structure, you just see it in everything you watch, you listen to, except our podcast, because that shit does not have any structure at all.
Yeah.
Um,
This is deliberately going to break the structure.
yeah,
Let's be,
definitely. Yeah, real subversive shit right here. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, that's definitely something that's really true, but it's also something that is true for a lot of big shows. So my favorite show of all times, Breaking Bad, is also following that exact same structure, sort of, apart from the end, which is kind of different. So I think that's really, really widespread, but it doesn't make me not like that stuff. It's like, yeah, I know it's gonna happen, but I don't know how it's gonna happen. And I think if you can, free that part of your brain, then it definitely helps.
Yeah,
And
if you
just,
can kind of suspend your ability to like analyze it and just kind of try and watch it without
mm-hmm,
thinking about it, it's like so we watched a movie last night that my girlfriend likes to watch, kind of what is it, like psychological thrillers, a lot of like murder and crime, but like not violence. She doesn't like violence. I made her watch Hateful Eight and Pulp Fiction, and she did not like those movies. But those are the kind of movies I like. Pulp Fiction. I like most Tarantino movies.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I like comedies because for me, life is hard enough, and if I'm having like a rough day or I'm tired or something, like I don't want to watch something that makes me feel sad or scared or depressed or something. Like I just want to watch something that will lighten my disposition.
Yeah, that's why you watch people getting murdered.
Oh, well, that's why I
Because-
listen to metal music.
Yeah.
I guess that's the same thing then. What the fuck? Okay, I can't say anything then.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a weird one because okay, so there's a lot of those shows. Oh shit, I really do not know the Canadian or American equivalents for that.
Like CSI.
No. I'm talking about like reality shows. Like Project Runway. We have that in Germany as well.
Sure. Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I know some of my colleagues who are all highly educated people. They are really, really extensively watching shows like that. And I just don't get it. Or, well, let me put it differently. I didn't get it. Up until the point where I realized what you were just saying a minute ago, which is like people have it hard enough a lot of times, So they want to get home and watch some stuff where they do not have to think about anything. They do not have to really care about what happens. And because those reality shows are made up of so much drama that's happening and artificially created drama that's happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
People are like, haha, look at that stupid bitch. She doesn't know that she's not getting a photo today. And it's, yeah.
Idiot, you're supposed to wear a pencil skirt.
Exactly.
Everybody knows that.
I kind of get why people are listening or, well, watching that stuff. But then again, I think that everyone consumes media differently. So, for example, when I'm consuming media, in general, I just want to have a good experience. I don't care what it gives me. A lot of people, in their spare time, they do not want to watch, for example, documentaries because they're like, well, I've just spent my whole day, like, actively thinking about problems that I need to solve. I don't want to get home and learn a bunch of stuff because that's just exhausting my brain even more. Which I can kind of get. And I watch documentaries after work. I watch really stupid shit after work as well. Like Family Guy, South Park, or whatnot. I don't care, but I can also watch movies that are either lighthearted or just making me kind of sad for a second. But I think it's a lot about how you deal with the emotions that media tries to implant in you,
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think it's totally fine if you're someone who's like, I don't want to watch a bunch of like really sad stuff when I'm getting home from work. I just want something to cheer me up or maybe make me feel better about myself because I screwed something up at work today. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I get that sentiment.
I feel the same way. Sometimes we watch 90 Day Fiancé every week. I don't know do you know about this?
Yeah, I pretty much only know about that from watching PewDiePie. because he's been doing some of those reaction videos to 90 Days Fiance, but only to the clips that are already uploaded to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I love it. I totally get it, but I don't think I could watch a whole episode without just wanting to shoot myself.
It's really weird because, like, obviously they pick, they must get a ton of people coming in to as applicants for the show, and then they're like, they obviously pick, like, very few people on there have like a good story where they're like, oh, we're both accountants in different countries, and we're just, we're ready to settle down, and we've been dating long distance for years, and then so we finally applied for the visa, and they're just going to come over. And then they're like, okay, well, that doesn't make good TV. So do you have a job? No. Okay, there, boom. Like the requirements to get on the show. It's like, okay, are one of you struggling or both of you struggling financially? Yes. Okay, you're in.
Yeah.
Like it's like a 30-year, like it's almost always the same. There's some exceptions, but they're like kind of deeply flawed in other ways that still make good for TV. Otherwise, it's like you're 30, you work in KFC, and you're trying, like, you're supporting your family. Your grandmother's like in hospice care or something, but you want to bring your 22-year-old boyfriend from Bolivia over to the States, and
yeah,
they don't have any education or anything, so
Yeah.
you have to support them, and it's like, of course that's going to be a shit show.
But I mean, so I've watched one, like, I'll just call it a compilation of videos from a particular episode, which I thought was so hilarious because there was this kind of obese American woman, didn't know that existed, and she was dating a really fit, good-looking guy from, I think, Tunisia or Egypt or some North African country.
I think I know who you're talking about. Continue.
Dude, I was dying inside, because you would figure it's not a cliche, and it's also not demeaning in any way that people from countries like North African countries, who in general are more exposed to problems like poverty and stuff like that, would be trying to get into countries like the US to make a better life for themselves. And what I thought was so funny is that he was like this really good looking dude who obviously had like a real handle on his life. Like, he had great friends, he had a great family, he was taking care of himself, he had a good business as a personal trainer. And then there was this severely overweight, out of work American woman who picked him up, brought him to the States, and after a while he was just like, I'm not putting up with that shit at all. You're lazy, you're just a despicable person. I don't care about any money that I could gain from, being with you. I just really don't like you as a person. And that was one of the most heartwarming things in some weird kind of way that I ever saw, because it was like, well, this guy obviously knew that he was going to get some money from participating in that show.
I've heard that they don't, though.
I think it depends. I think it depends.
It's because they have to have some incentive to put their life. So it's just I've spent so much time screaming at the TV, like, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, take an objective look at the situation. You've got like a model. I don't want to like disparage anyone, but like, let's just say you're not in peak physical condition. Your age difference maybe is a huge difference. Sometimes it's not. And then like, you're just very different people, and it's like, what did you think was gonna happen? I don't know.
Yeah. and I think for a lot of people, including myself, the appeal of watching something like that is mostly like, are they for real?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just so curious to know if there's any clues in the show exposing them as being fake.
Well, I think they edit it
Yeah.
to make it look more dramatic than
Yeah.
it is, I'm sure. And they make... Okay, so something that drives me nuts is like when they all meet. They all have to meet somewhere to talk about
Yeah.
a thing. They can't just like talk about it at home. They're like, okay, let's go to a public place where we have to discuss this intense personal matter around other people. It's... Why?
Fucking hell, dude. Don't do that. Like, it's definitely
It's a
a setup. Exactly. Thank you.
She doesn't bring anything. She's like, I want to get back together.
Exactly. I was thinking about that. And so, yeah, that's something. I'm not sure if the people in those shows are actually dumb. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think it's mostly like the producers who are like, it would look so much better if you guys would meet up at a cafe or restaurant and talk about that instead of, your ex-wife's backyard where no one can hear or see you. So
Yeah. I think the producers are like, hey, you should ask her why she didn't return your call yesterday.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
maybe.
They're literally like the devil on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Damn.
you should tell her she looks tired this morning.
Oh man, why don't you ask her to work out with you for a change, huh?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, good. So, dude, I'm gonna need a little theme music from you now because right now it's time for my and your favorite segment.
Do 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 do.
German words that I assure you've never heard about, and I'm really curious to see whether you have something like that in your language as well or not. So, today's word is Schweinepriester. Let me say that again. Schweinepriester.
Okay. So obviously pig is the first word in
Good.
the
Good.
literal translation. Did you say priester with a P or a B?
With a P.
With a P. Okay, so pig priest. If I actually, I don't know the word for priest, but it sounds like priest.
That's good. That's real good, man. I'm proud of you.
Okay. What would that mean? Is it somebody who runs a cult?
Okay, so before this episode,
Can I call a friend? Can I phone a friend?
You are right now, man.
Oh shit.
So before this recording, I was thinking about the options of what you were gonna say, but I honestly didn't think that you were going to attribute this to a cult leader. That's awesome. No, so all right. So the Brothers Grimm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So famous storytellers. So they have their own dictionary, and they say that this word is actually referring to a unclean or foul-mouthed person.
Okay.
And there's a lot of ideas where this came from, but most likely it's like a pig herder who was also in a monastery, who would typically be castrating the little piglets, or maybe it's from foul-mouthed students back in the day, who also created the term Schwein haben, which literally means having pig, which means being in luck. So it's not 100% sure what this exactly originates from, but what you would use it as would be a really bad insult. So if someone's like a real crook and a real asshole to you, you would just go Schweinepriester. And you would also say that in a really, really demeaning way and probably spit on him a little
it
bit.
Stings. Ooh.
Yeah, right. So is there any equivalent like that you guys have in your language, or did I finally crack the code?
Nothing. I wouldn't say that's something that creative, like something. You know what? Here, full story circle. You could call someone a hoser.
Oh.
In the English language, though, like in general, if I was going to speak for Americans and I'm sure Irish and Scottish and English people have some more colorful language. I don't think I have anything that would be in that category. You just use probably.
Yeah. All right.
Just call him a fucker.
Yeah, that's always a go-to, isn't it? Eh? Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, great. So I think I finally cracked the code on a type of word that is just too specifically German. Yeah, cool. Okay, good. So with that, I'd say we close on this episode. Thank you guys a lot for listening. And as always, we really appreciate you interacting with us either on Twitter @friendsapartpod or via email friendsapartpod@gmail.com. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode and are going to join us next time as well. Bye.
Bye.